is up with that?
So now, Martha, is the Pledge of Allegiance a laughing matter? A dust-up this morning over what a Republican candidate for Congress is saying about Democratic Congressman Xavier Becerra, caught on videotape, laughing at a suggestion to recite the Pledge of Allegiance at a union meeting. Here's the tape. Roll this and listen.
Yes, I'm here with Ari David for Congress. Can we start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance? No, I'm serious. Congressman, shouldn't we say the Pledge of Allegiance if we all want to be citizens? Wouldn't that be appropriate to say the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure, of course.
Okay, let's do that. Can everybody stand? And I'm happy to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. You lead.
Everybody stand. Face the American flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we've since come to find out the man who asked that the pledge be recited is an aide for Republican candidate Ari David. He's running against Henry Waxman in California. That's in a neighboring district. He's asking the Congressman Becerra to clarify his reaction. So today we've invited both men on our program to hash this out. Ari David is live in L.A. and Congressman Becerra joins us live from Capitol Hill. And gentlemen, thank you both for your time this morning. Representative Becerra, I'll start with you. Mr. David's already on record, says your reaction was completely inappropriate. Why did you react the way you did once the request was made for the pledge?
Bill, the Pledge of Allegiance and the flag are not a laughing matter, and I'm very proud to wear this pin as a member of Congress. What Mr. David isn't telling you that he is distorting the clip that he took selectively out of the entire frame. And that's what we should talk about, how Mr. David is hiding behind the flag to try to make some political gains during his campaign for Congress. That's unfortunate.
So
because if you take a look at the entire session,
because we all want to clarify this.
If I could just finish,
I'll let you finish, but how is he taking this out of context? Explain that.
Because if you take a look at the entire session, this political operative says, can we start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance? What Mr. David's campaign is not telling you, that there had been folks in this meeting for over an hour, well over an hour. People were out there, as you can see, very animated. So when this gentleman, this political operative, raises his hand and says, I'm with this political campaign, that's what folks were laughing at. Is this was the only guy who was out there campaigning. This was a serious meeting. Folks were wondering, who is this guy? What's he talking about? So folks laughed. But when he said, I'm serious, and then he points to me, Congressman, should we do the Pledge of Allegiance? As you saw in the clip, I nodded yes and gestured to the moderator so that we should do this. The whole audience of about 500 people stood up, recited the pledge, rousing applause afterwards, and he doesn't show any of that. What he does is selectively take a portion of the tape to make it look like we're laughing at the pledge.
I accept that explanation. Let's get Mr. David's answer on that. Is that satisfactory, sir?
Oh, well, I think the congressman's reaction speaks for itself. In truth, my staff and I were there to see if we could find Henry Waxman, who was invited to the town hall event and who didn't make an appearance. And our problem with Henry Waxman is that he never holds town halls or makes himself available for his constituents to question him openly on different issues. And my staffer just took the initiative because he thought, since a sitting congressman was present, that it would be appropriate to open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
What Representative Becerra is saying is that the meeting was underway for an hour and it's taken out of an hour rather. It was taken out of context, and the question was not expected. And we do see as the tape plays out that everybody stands up and recites the pledge, sir. So your response to that?
Oh, that's simply not the case. The meeting had basically just started. When Congressman Becerra says that the meeting was going on for an hour, well, the room was filling up for an hour because it was a crowded meeting with many people. But it was basically the very beginning of the meeting. And if Congressman Becerra thinks that the tape that we posted is being taken out of context, well, there was every media outlet in the city was there with cameras, and I'm sure Congressman Becerra could show the whole feed if he were so inclined, if he thought it would suit him.
Is any of what he said out of line, Congressman?
Absolutely, everything he said is out of line. Look, take a look at the entire video. People had been there since 7:30 in the morning. I got there after 9 o'clock. Now, perhaps they were doing some things that were directed to me, but they've been there for a long time. Mr. David talks, in response to your question, about his campaign against Congressman Waxman. The guy is trying to get airtime. I don't blame him, but don't use the flag to hide behind this stuff. Say what you're trying to do. You're trying to get free airtime. And Bill, I hope that Fox doesn't continue to ride along with this.
That's why we brought you on. on today? The meeting was about immigration reform. There's a group of union members who are in there today. Just to be clear to all of our audience watching this and your constituents back in California, do you have an issue with the pledge?
Absolutely not. We all stood up and said it, and we all applauded afterwards. And as I said, when this political operative asked me specifically, would you like to, should we say the pledge? I said absolutely, and I pointed to the moderator and said, and you could see me nodding in the affirmative.
Okay.
So
right.
what Mr. David is doing is taking this totally out of context.
The computer's going to cut us
completely
off, but I want to squeeze in Mr. David for a final reaction. Sir, are you happy now?
Well, clearly, Mr. Becerra does have a problem with the pledge. He and Mr. Waxman both voted against the Pledge Protection Act. And if people want to see more footage of it, please go to my website, aridavidforcongress.com.
Gentlemen,
we posted
thank you.
many things there about this. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for
Ari
proving
David,
that point, Mr. David.
Xavier Becerra, I wish we had more time, but gentlemen, thanks to both of you for coming on today.
No, you don't need more time for this. This was shut and
I
closed.
wish we could continue. 9 minutes before the hour. Break right here. Back in 3 minutes.